What's going on, guys? It's your boy Sean Black, aka DFS 5050. You can follow me on Instagram at DFS 5050 or at Sean Black, SEANBLAQUE, in the same handle, i.e., Instagram. Today, I want to go over the lineups that didn't necessarily make it and why they didn't make it, and then show you the lines that did make it and why they made it. So, with no further ado, the first set right here. Actually, as a matter of fact, this lineup, the lineup on your left, the 275 lineup, is a lineup that I had given y'all yesterday. That was my stars and scrubs lineup. As you can see, it didn't work out at all. I picked Lynn. Lynn only gave me 15.6 fantasy points. Gorgie Dang went off. Kevin Love got fouled out in the fourth quarter. Don't know how that happens. Paul Zipser, nada. Andrew Wiggins did fairly decent. Caldwell Pope did not take advantage of the matchup. James Harden, he had the wrist issues, but I was thinking he was going to play, a little bit better than what he did. Ish Smith, great night for him. Great turnout. Damian Lillard, for his price, great turnout. But overall, this lineup did not cash. It wouldn't have cashed in 50-50s, GPPs, double ups, or head-to-heads. This lineup, however, is actually, I'm very disappointed, only because I felt that CJ McCollum was going to have a better night. But when I looked at my notes, I saw some discrepancies that I had with him, and it had me leaning towards Crab, but I faded Crab at the last minute, and I wish I didn't, because he basically had all the usage in the shooting guard position, and he ended up having 30 fantasy points, and those extra 13.3 fantasy points would have actually put me in the cash line. And for what I had going on last night, I would have made a small profit. Overall, I ended up breaking even last night. And, but hey, it is what it is. I'd rather break even than to lose money. That's for sure. I used about maybe 20-25% of my bankroll, which is kind of risky. Normally, I usually go for about 5 to 10, but I really had a good feeling about the lineups that I had yesterday. And at one point in time, guys, I was up. I was either tripling, or I was either 3x or 5x in my money. So I knew I was in for a good night. It was just a matter of the players just doing what they were supposed to do. We can't control how they play. All we can predict is what we feel they can, score or perform, or whatever the case may be. I just want to get this thing set up for the optimizer, and I want to show you the winning lines that I had. Okay. The highest line that I have here, actually, this line was produced by DFS Army. So I wanted to give them a big shout out. They were high on Marcus Morris. And remember, if you guys watching the show yesterday, Marcus Morris, I said, was going to be more or less a GPP option and not a cash option because of his volatility. And man, the Phoenix rose, baby. the Phoenix rose, and he rose, man. I mean, dude, this dude almost 10x for you. I think just about anyone who had a winning GPP line had Marcus Morris in the mix, or a combination of him with some other folks. Of course, with this line, I was expecting a lot more out of Harden and Williams. Honestly, I was looking for I say like a 30-60 situation. So 8 more points from Lou, and then 19 more from James Harden, but that didn't happen. Of course, the wrist issue, it's whatever. But did fairly well. 759 out of 11,000. That's not bad. I'll take that. And I'll take the $10 to go right along with it too. Basically doubled up on that line. Overall, like I said, I ended up breaking even due to the fact that I actually had a game in the late slate that actually hit and ended up covering all of what I invested in that night. Okay, this lineup is basically one of the lineups that I did. I had Rubio, Smith, Nwaba, Reddick, Jimmy Butler, LeBron James, Tobias Harris, Gorgie Dang, and Joseph Nurkic. Okay, and of course, I yesterday and a couple of days ago, what I've been emphasizing a lot more on lately is going cheaper in my shooting guards. Just because, I mean, their production, I'm not saying that their production can be hit or miss. It's just that if you're looking to rack up more stats, to work out in your favor, especially if you're like playing on DraftKings or something like that, you're going to get most of your stats from the point guards, centers, and power forwards, rebounds, assists, stuff like that. Usually shooting guards, they're just like right around the wing waiting for the opportunity to shoot, unless you have somebody like an anomaly like in Lou Williams or James Harden where they can play basically almost play two-way, but most shooting guards are one-way players. So this lineup, again, did pretty well. The ownership was okay. I really was expecting a lot more from JJ Redick. I thought he at least was going to give me about 25 fantasy points. A good pivot off of him would have been Jamal Crawford. He gave us, I believe, give or take 18, 19 points, and he was 3,900. So you could save that money and put it somewhere else and got some better results out of it. So no complaints, broke even. We're going to get to it now. What I want to show you guys is a lineup that I've already have pre-made. I decided to just go ahead and just do some research beforehand as opposed to doing research while I'm running the show. And basically what I did, it was a culmination of different strategies different strategies that are basically one right now. But I basically decided to divvy up my strategies and picking certain players and stuff like that. And basically I came up with Steph Curry, Darren Collison, Buddy Hield, Avery Bradley, Terrence Ross, Trevor Ariza, Zach Randolph, and Draymond Green, and DeMarcus Cousins. Now, there are two players in the mix right now that you're going to be looking at that have somewhat of a narrative involved. The narrative is the trade narrative, and Buddy Hield being traded from New Orleans to Sacramento, and then DeMarcus Cousins being traded from Sacramento to New Orleans. My feeling in this is they're going to want to show out, and I feel like they can, and I feel like they will. Now, that's just a gut call. There's no logic in that. It's just a gut feeling that I have. A lot of people are going to be on DeMarcus Cousins tonight. I know this, but a lot of people may not necessarily be on Buddy Hield unless, you have 1,000,001 people watching my show and they somehow decide to erase the views. 9 out of 10 times, I don't think a lot of people are going to be on Buddy Hield. And for many reasons, the DVP is not the best. It's like -1, -2, somewhere in there. So it's like below average as far as what the defense allows to the shooting guard. But the trade narrative, I feel like that narrative is going to be very strong tonight. And then there's some recency bias in Curry, Draymond Green, Trevor Ariza, and Zach Randolph. All these guys performed very well against the opposing team in their last outing, which was less than maybe 5 to 7 days ago. So I feel like these guys are going to be able to repeat the process again. I picked Avery Bradley. Collison, he had a great outing as well against New Orleans. I think he went for 46 fantasy points and whatnot. And all of these guys that I have in here, plus or minus Buddy Hield, all have great matchups. For New Orleans, I feel like DeMarcus Cousins is going to feast tonight simply because Willie Cauley-Stein can't guard him and Scal cannot guard him as well. But they need somebody to guard him down there. So who do they have? Let's take a look real quick. Sacramento centers. Kufos is out. And Georgios Papagiannis? Yeah, no. A lot of people might pivot off to him, but I don't think he has enough body to guard Cousins, honestly. So I don't think that's going to happen. Excuse me, had to burp there. again, I feel strongly about Cousins tonight. He made the cut from the fantasy points awarded to centers, and he also made the cut on a couple of other scenarios that I have here, as far as defense versus position, and then what I have in my portfolio. All right, so we have that scenario there, okay, and I'm probably gonna end up playing this line and see where it takes me. You never know. This might hit for $1,000,001. You never know. But I'm more or less putting it in the $3 GPP. So, anyways, let's see here. Oh, the same one. Let me clear this one real quick. All right, so I have two scenarios here. I could either create a lineup based on, well, three scenarios based on my portfolio. And then within my portfolio, I started kind of really diving into it, and I was really looking to see who had the best value tonight. And I think I would want to start there, but I also have, the defense versus position available. And I'm definitely going to be filling in as needed. So let's go to the portfolio. Let me move this over. All right. So based on value, we have about 10 players that I'm looking at right now. We have Lou Williams, Kemba Walker, Zach Randolph, Isaiah Thomas, Terrence Ross, Klay Thompson, Rashawn Holmes, Rodney Hood, Dario Saric, Steph Curry, Buddy Hield. Okay. And I could keep going down and down and down and down, but I think I will want to stop it right around Buddy Hield or Marcus Aldridge area there. Okay. So what I'm thinking about is basically seeing where the usage is and also seeing where, where the points per minute are with these players. Okay. Again, I want to go super cheap on my shooting guards. It seemed to have worked well for me in my last couple of outings, and I don't want to stop there. So I'm thinking of going cheap, and there's three players that I'm looking at right now. I'm looking at Buddy Hield, Rodney Hood, and I'm looking at Lou Williams, who has the highest value out of the shooting guards tonight. Okay, so what I would like to do is go ahead and plug in Hood at 4,000. As a matter of fact, let's look at Hood. This is where, we start kind of getting into the meats and potatoes of creating lineups here. Matchup is not all that great. Last outing, however, he did hit over 5x, 21.6 at 4,000. So we can expect for him to at least be able to repeat that. So let's see, Rodney Hood, 23.6. All right, 21, 23, somewhere in there. We're going to go with that because we're going to pay up in other positions tonight. All right. And then, of course, we talked about Lou Williams at 46. And also another thing I want to look at here is the over-unders for these games, 206. And then Sacramento, 210. Okay, that's fair. All right, cool. So we have Rodney Hood, Lou Williams. We just basically spent 8,000 for the shooting guards tonight. As we go back into the portfolio, we're looking at the next person, Kemba Walker. Kemba Walker, let's look at some of his situation here. Kemba Walker has a pretty good matchup against Denver tonight. Denver is giving up a lot of points to the point guards. Let's see if we have any confirmation there. Ooh. Oh man, this is dope right here. 7,600 for Kemba Walker, and we got a we can probably get him to, at that price, we could probably get him to maybe 6, 7x for us at that price. You know, let's see if we can see any other time they've played this season, and they haven't. So 42.8 is what's being projected for, well, what he did for them last. And we have him at 43.31. All right, so we're gonna go to Kimba. We'll plug him in. Okay. Sorry about that, guys. That's Uber letting me know that there's some money out there for me tonight. And if you're looking for extra money to play in DFS, I highly recommend you do Uber. I mean, hell, you work 5 to 15 hours a week. You can make anywhere between, $200 to $500 easy. So that's just something to think about, guys. I will have a link below for that as well if you are interested. But anyways, we have Kemba Walker, Rodney Hood, Lou Williams. We have 7,300 left to play with in our bankroll for creating a line. The next person we're looking at right now, we're looking at Zach Randolph at 5,600. Last outing with Zach Randolph, he hit for, I believe, 46 fantasy points. And I think he was a lot cheaper then, too. Let's take a look. Yeah, he hit for 41. He was 6,100. He is 500 cheaper from the last outing they had. So that will put him at around 7, 8x if he was to hit that again. And if he doesn't come off the bench. If he does come off the bench, we're looking to see anywhere between 27 and 30, 35 fantasy points. I know that's a large margin, but still, I mean, in case you decide to use them. And that game, it's actually the slowest game tonight. But, I mean, we all know that in the midst of slow games, there's still a lot of fantasy goodness going on. There's still a lot of, it might not be as many possessions, but I mean, there are a lot of rebounds to filter through. And if Gasol and a couple of others are still out, he's going to be taking on a lot of responsibility in the paint. So that's definitely something that y'all, will want to consider when picking a power forward tonight. He's going to be very popular, by the way, at 5,600. And I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that, with his value. I mean, if he's 40% owned, that means 40% of the field is only going to have him. 60% won't have him. If he goes off, we still can get a bump in the rankings to get to that number one spot. Okay, so that's what I'm thinking about. So let's see. Do we put him in there? Nope. Let me put him in there real quick. Zach Randolph. All right, next person we have is Isaiah Thomas at 8,500. That seems to be very reasonable. Actually, it's beyond reasonable for his price, considering that he can go off. Let's see here. There we go. Isaiah Thomas. His matchup is looking really good as well against Orlando. Let's see. Last time they played, he only hit for 38.6. So that was 3.9 times the money on 9.8. He's 8.5. That's a discount of 1,400. So if he was to hit this again, 38.6 fantasy points, which 9 out of 10 times he's going to hitting for more. We're looking at roughly about 6, 7x, maybe 8, depending on how badly he wants it tonight. And depending on how much pressure, if it's going to be a shootout. If it's going to be a shootout, then, we'll see what happens. Of course, that last time they played, it was a blowout, so that there is a concern with that. And he only played 24 minutes. Now, we all know if he gets over 30 minutes, let's look at a time where he only scored 30 minutes. 30 minutes. Yeah, close enough. Let's see. Okay, fine. Let's do 33 minutes. All right. Okay, what am I missing? What am I looking at? Okay, there we go. 30.6, 30 minutes. Anything over 30. Okay, I'm sorry. Let me take that back. I apologize. If we can get him to do about 37 minutes, we're easily able to see him do 50 burgers or 50 fantasy points or more. Okay, so that's what we would like to have out of him at 8,500. At 8,500, I think that would make him uh 7, 8x, 9x, somewhere there. No, it won't be 9x. It'd be like 7x. So, anyways, that's what we want out of him. I want more than 40. You know, he's looking good for that matchup. He's playing at home. You know, most teams tend to do better at home. So, despite the blowout, I'm going to plug him in. Okay. All right. So now the next person we have on deck is Terrence Ross. Terrence Ross has been on a tear lately. He's been exceeding his value over the last 4 or 5 games. I don't feel like this game is going to be any different. Jay Crowder is a good defender. However, Jay Crowder does allow points to small forwards. So let's take a look at Ross. Matchup is below average, slightly below average, not by much. But look at this, 24, 30, 24, 29, 26, 28, you know, 32, 29, all these different scenarios where he's, if we can get him to play over 30 minutes, okay, we can see some really good production out of him. So I definitely think that I definitely think that's somebody that you might want to plug in based on value. And that's what I'm plugging in for tonight's slate. Okay, and then that's going to help us save some money in other positions. All right. So the next person we're looking at is Rashawn Holmes. Okay. He's been taking some responsibilities in the center position. And of course, that right there in itself is, you know, he becomes very matchup dependent because he's not really playing his true position, which is a power forward. The only difference is he is getting starter minutes. So, you know, he's able to at least collect something despite it. In some of the matches where he was the center, we're looking at numbers of 13, 12, 31, 21, and 39. Okay. So even though he had to play center position against Atlanta the last time, he got the starter minutes. He got the 30 minutes that he needed. Anytime he has over 30 minutes, this guy has been a production monster for the most part. Just take a look at some of his recency bias. And, you know, there was a couple of times, of course, the last 2 outings against this team that he's playing tonight, which is Cleveland, he didn't play. Of course, that was back when Sarge and Ilyasova were sharing the majority share of the minutes. But now that he's emerging out of the whole situation, despite the matchup not being the best, if he's getting over 30 minutes, he's definitely somebody that you want to plug in. And at 5,800, I mean, I don't see why not. Okay. All right. So Holmes, plug him in at 5,800. Now, what we have now, we have 97.50 per player to pick on. And this is where we can kind of move away from the value plays and start looking for some plays that's going to really work out in our favor tonight. So let me switch this over from our regular value to the high value. So we talked about Isaiah Thomas. We talked about Walker. Let's see. Harden, nope. Aldridge, no. Let's see. We need a center and we need a power forward. So in this situation right here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to move over to the DVP. And right now, I'm sorry, we need a small forward and we need a center. Moving over to the DVP. If you don't want to go with Cousins, I was thinking either Vucevic or, oh no, actually, hold on, let me take that back. Basically, there's a couple of plays that you can go with. One of the plays that we have in the mix right now is going to be Al Horford. He didn't play the last outing. I think he sat out, but he's 7,100. We got him at a discount. If Al Horford can give us at least 30 minutes, he should be able to reach value. Okay, he just needs 35 fantasy points to reach value. Anything over that we'll be highly grateful for, and we can plug him in, or we can play around and see who we have in the center position that can give us what we're looking for tonight. Okay, so anyways, let's go ahead and plug in Horford. All right. So now what we have now is we have $12,400 left to work with, in which, I mean, easy enough, we can just plug in LeBron James. Okay. LeBron James actually has a decent matchup. He's going to want to win this game. He's somewhat motivated. At least I would hope he will be a little bit more motivated. The matchup is in his favor, is against Philadelphia. I don't think Philadelphia has Covington tonight, so it's not like he's going to be pressured by anyone in particular. Gerald Henderson is not going to play in the defense. Last time he's played against them at 10,054 at 9,756. Can we see 65? Can we see 72s? Can we see that, LeBron? Can we see that? I will hope so. But the good thing about Philadelphia is they're a very tenacious team. They're not going to just let you blow them out like that. They're going to play. And as you can see here, 35 minutes, 41 minutes, we're going to see LeBron James play a decent amount of minutes unless he gets in his feelings, although he's one of my favorite players, unless he gets in his feelings and decides not to play. I think LeBron is a good play for tonight. So that in itself, we're going to plug him in. All right, we have 1,500 left to work with. I've seen GPPs being won with people having that much or more left in their salary remaining. I mean, as far as Horford is concerned, I could easily upgrade to let's see, Whiteside. Whiteside is in a good position tonight. Maybe Whiteside might go lower owned. Let's see what Whiteside is looking like. Here, small forward position. Great matchup. Last time he played against them, he was 400 more, and even though they won, he only scored 30 fantasy points. The other time before that, they played 39. I don't know. Great matchup. I mean, definitely a true GPP play. Maybe safer cash. If New York can't keep it together, then he's not going to play a lot of minutes. And we want a player that's going to play a lot of minutes. Or at least a player that with a decent amount of minutes is going to produce the same as someone being more expensive than that player. So, of course, we talked about Vucevic, or at least mentioned him briefly. He's been on a consistent tear lately, but against Boston, he just doesn't perform well. 23.3 23 minutes at 66. That's not very encouraging. 26 minutes at 71, not very encouraging at all. So you're basically asking yourself, which Nikola Vucevic are we going to see tonight? And I'm not sure. I'm not taking that chance. I'd rather go with a home team or go with a cheaper play. Again, let's see. We have Ross, LeBron, Randolph, Rashawn Holmes. Like I said, we can go with Horford. So we could do that. If we wanted to remove Lou Williams out of the mix, we could probably throw in somebody else. Let's see. Okay, so a guy that we can probably throw in instead of Lou Williams, and we can get him for relatively cheap, is Gary Harris. Shooting guards are awarded a lot of points from Charlotte. Let's look at Gary Harris's matchup. See if we have anything with him there. As you see, DVP is looking good. Defensive efficiency is looking good. The pace is, opponent's pace is kind of slow, but the usage is there, and the point score from Denver is going to be there as well. Let's see if he, last time he played against him, he only had 2.5 fantasy points. But if Will Barton is not in the mix, he's probably going to end up playing more minutes. But, from the looks of it looks like he's been on a cold streak. And that game, the over-under is pretty high. Excuse me. Just don't know if I want to go there with him. Let's see if we can get Bradley at a cheap price here. Avery Bradley, 6'2", better matchup. Oh man, don't trust that one bit. Okay. Let's look here. Marcus Smart, no thanks. Evan Fournier, straight GPP. Steph Curry, nah. Tyreek Evans, there might be a narrative for him too. Of course, we talked about Buddy Hield. Eric Gordon over Lou Williams. I can see that. Courtney Lee. Let's look at Courtney Lee here. Nope. Okay. So this is the part where I would say to you guys, you know what? Let's just stick to the plan. All right. So we have Kemba Walker, Isaiah Thomas, Rodney Hood, Lou Williams, Terrence Ross, LeBron James, Zach Randolph, Rashawn Holmes, and Al Horford. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to go back into my my optimizer, my portfolio here, and we're going to start plugging in some numbers here. Let's see, projecting Lou Williams to do about 24, 23.5, Kemba 43.31, Zach Randolph 37.47, Thomas 40.5, Rouse 28.34, Holmes 39.43, Hood 66. How many players is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then who else do we have in the mix? Horford. All right. Let's see what kind of money we can get out of Horford tonight. 31.9. Okay. Thank you. And then let's look at overall projection for the night. All right, 43.37 for LeBron. Let's see what the domination station is saying about LeBron James. LeBron. Oh, spelled him all kind of wrong there. All right, they got him at 46. And I got him at 43. Okay, that's fine. 43.37. All right, so this lineup right here all together with everybody in the mix and everybody at least hitting my projections is going to score you about 312.33. All right, and then with my other line that I have here, let's see what we have here. All right. Let me write that down here for reference for tomorrow, because I'm pretty sure y'all will be interested in knowing if it hit or not, or for some that do play, we'll see what happens. So we have Curry. Hill was at 29. Bradley. And Bradley, by the way, guys, he's like the second scoring option on that team. And then it's Horford, then Amir, then Crowder, then Amir, or vice versa. So we got those guys there. Oops, wrong one. I think we had Ross at, what was Ross at? Ross at 28. Ariza, 26.41. Randolph, all right. Draymond Green. And last but not least, DeMarcus Cousins. Okay, so with this lineup right here, we have a total of 305.29. That is if no players get changed out. If there's any news that comes out, then of course these lineups will be adjusted accordingly. More likely, I'm going to probably throw these lineups in either a $1 or $3 GPP line. They seem to be okay enough. Well, not okay, but I think they should be good enough for cash. Even though tonight, and the good thing about tonight is there's a lot of variance, so there's more than one way to get to the top. And then also with the Dallas-Memphis and then Detroit-Milwaukee game being being low totals. And then some of these teams being, slower pace can bring down the over under, or they can move up the over under. It doesn't, it depends on how they decide to play tonight. What will happen is tonight can be anywhere between, if I was to project it correctly, I would say top GPP line is going to be 365 to 390. So yeah, if the top GPP line is 365, 390, then to hit the cash line on GPPs, quins, and double ups will be for the quins and for the double ups, I will say 280, 290, between 280, 290, and then for the quins about 300, 330. And then, of course, GPPs a little bit, more, a little bit less than the quins, because the quins are a little bit harder to hit. But in any case, these two lineups can do more or they could do less, as you wish. Feel free to change it around and mix and match whatever you feel might be better plays based on your research. My research comes from 3 different methods that I have put into one. And actually 4, because if you include writing everything down, then that's still a method in itself, but it's more for memory and for other things that deal with the psychological aspect of playing DFS. So anyways, those are the 2 lines that I have. And what I would like to do now is give y'all some top plays based on defense versus position. In the point guard, you have Kemba Walker, Isaiah Thomas, Darren Collison. In the shooting guard position, you have Nick Stauskas, Nicholas Batum, and Gary Harris. Small forwards, Marcus Morris, Covington, if he plays, I seriously doubt it, and Terrence Ross. In the power forward position, you have Draymond Green, Anthony Davis, and James Johnson. I would say Trey Lyles, but I don't think Trey Lyles is going to get any work with Utah. In the center position, you're looking at Tristan Thompson, Pachulia, and Hassan Whiteside. All right, guys. Hopefully everything works out well for you. Thank you so much for tuning in. Please make sure you follow my handles. If you have any questions, hit me up and support the cause. If you feel interested in any of the products and services that I might have listed below, take a look at them. I work on music, so if you're an artist that's looking for beats, check me out at SeanBlack.com. This is your boy Sean Black signing out. Remember, it takes faith and it takes skill, and you need both. Peace.